Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1211 of our daily content grind. Just real quick before we begin, there's a little bit new to the intro. If you haven't watched the outro lately, there's more new there too. I have a really huge project in the works that's going to be coming very, very quickly. You've seen me tease it for last year. It's about to drop. So if you follow the socials that I linked there, they'll find them in the description below as well. That'll let you follow the progress and let you know exactly when you can see the full reveal. I'm super, super excited for this. I cannot wait for everybody to see it, and I want to see as many people there as possible. So please consider giving it a follow on your social media of choice. Most importantly, follow the Twitch channel. You will need that. So, it's debate time once again. And I'm actually happy with these results. So the last time I asked you, what is the better Transformer weapon? The traditional blaster rifle or the more modern arm cannon? And yeah, we actually had a decent split of 60% went blaster rifle and essentially 40% went arm cannon. So I'm actually happy to see that. I was really going for something that wasn't going to be one-sided. Okay, applause all around. We all did it. Good job, everybody. I personally am a rifle and blaster person. It does not make sense to me for them to fuel them, their weaponry with their own essence, with their own energy supply, which is weird coming from a Mega Man person, I admit. That said, I had a lot of people going, oh, both, or like, well, it depends, and like that's not the idea. The idea is to pick one or the other. It's very, very difficult to be like completely 100% down the middle on something like this. Remember, I'm trying to turn you against each other. Kidding, maybe. But with that in mind, I wanted to do something that might be a little bit more split again. I don't know. Part of this is a social experiment. I want to see for myself what exactly the answer is. So today we are talking about evil Optimus Primes. And in particular, we're going to go with the two classic variations. On one corner, we have Nemesis Prime, everyone's favorite black repaint. And on the other hand, we have Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. One of the more expensive BotCon toys you could own. They both have their pluses and minuses, so this is what I want to go over this time. We're going to hop back and forth on this debate a little bit, so excuse me if this is a little bit ping-pong, but I think it's the best way of actually conveying this. So, let's just focus, let's just get this part out of the way. We're going to judge a book by its cover, alright? So, a Shattered Glass Optimus Prime in his, ideal deco, should have purple, super dark pale blue, and then some form of accent, like a bright green or an off yellow, that kind of thing. So I do really like the color scheme. I like how it is a twist on the traditional colors of Optimus Prime. Tinting the red to purple works really, really well. Darkening up the blue as far as we'll go. That works really, really well. It also plays to the purple a little bit better than the blue and red play off each other, oddly enough. Little deco choices really enhance a Shattered Glass Optimus as well. The crack on the window, for instance, that's actually a little bit necessary, I feel. Like, he should feel a little bit gritty and dirty because he's not a pleasant person. Also, other little touches that I like, the translucent colors depend a lot. I like this, like, dark amber color that they've gone with on this take. And, of course, it's not proper Shattered Glass Optimus if it does not include the phrase, "till all are gone," somewhere on the deco. I think it's a really, really good idea for a dark take on Optimus Prime. I think it's a color scheme that works on quite a few Primes. We know the Nemesis Prime color scheme. It's iconic in Transformers at this point. Let's be honest with each other, it is a little basic, right? Like, let's just make him a black repaint. Oh, he's got dark red translucence. Oh, he's so evil. If it wasn't for that teal is doing a lot of heavy lifting on most of these figures to make sure they actually look unique. right? Without that, black, silver, a little bit of red, it's very typical evil colors, right? Like that's not terribly creative. Let's admit it's not terribly creative. And that kind of goes all the way back to the origins and roots of this deco. This starts with like Nucleon Quest Convoy, where it's a jet black repaint of Optimus Prime, actually Jinrai technically. So that carried over through, what eventually became Black Convoy, and that's when you get Evil Optimus, so starts in a very basic place, gets adapted into what it is now. So there's a reason for it, but it's also like, it looks cool. I'm not going to deny that, but it is basic. I find it's not as creative, but it is like very classically, evil, cool. And, it hits a different note than the Shattered Glass. So I'm of two minds on the both of them. I don't prefer one or the other, if I'm being honest here. I just explained how that's not technically possible. Let's put it this way. I see the pluses and minuses of both. Personality-wise, this is where the two differ a lot. It's easy to go like, well, they're both evil Optimus Primes, so they're going to operate kind of the same way. Well, not necessarily. There's actually quite a bit to both of them that stands out as unique. Both of them obviously are going to twist Optimus Prime's ideals, but they have their own ways of doing it. The original depiction of Shattered Glass Optimus Prime has him being very schemy and backstabby. He works his way up the ranks of the Autobots in a very Starscream approach until the point where, yeah, he can actually conduct his own hostile takeover and say, I'm the leader now. And he's cruel, exceedingly cruel. It's not a point of just like, oh, he just likes to go killing. No. Cruelty. He is a fan of cruelty. This is someone who took Ultra Magnus, his brother in this continuity, and literally ripped his face off as punishment. The thing that we kind of joked like makes Optimus Prime evil in the Bayverse. Yeah, this guy just does that, and he's fully aware that it's evil. This is also someone who leaves the corpses of his victims on display in a very Vlad the Impaler kind of way. He's twisted. He's very, very twisted. But the cruelty is what stands out to his personality in all his iterations. Now, admittedly, that's not very many. We only have two real fictions for Shattered Glass. What BotCon did, and then the IDW comics that ended up packed in with all the modern Shattered Glass toys. And I'm going to be honest with you, like a lot of the 2.0 era of IDW, I wasn't really impressed by the writing. It just seemed flat, Optimus Prime in this iteration is basically just Megatron. Like, he's got a similar personality and approach to things as Megatron. He doesn't stand out nearly as much. It doesn't come across as it's a dark incarnation of Optimus Prime. It comes across as I'm copying Megatron's homework, but I'm changing a few things. It's frustrating. And I felt a lot about that with the IDW's take on Shattered Glass. Starscream is not Shattered Glass Starscream. It's just normal G1 Starscream who happens to be a good guy. That's basically what it boiled down to. And yeah, he's not disloyal, but he's not the super loyal zealot that was amazing to witness in the original Shattered Glass. So not a lot of variations there, but he does have something up on, like, character-wise, is just like how you twist the way Optimus Prime works. Nemesis Prime is a little bit harder to nail down, because with Nemesis Prime, you could be looking at anything. So typically, this is like the dark opposite of Optimus Prime. So you have someone who has his strength and his tactical abilities, but, very twisted and violent, right? So he operates a little bit differently. He's a little bit more on the brutal side. He's not like backstabby. He's very much just like authoritative. That type. But that said, it really does depend, doesn't it? One thing that I feel like Nemesis Prime really has on Shattered Glass Optimus is he could really be just about anything. Like take the original Black Optimus on the evil side. So what they called Black Convoy, what we called Scourge. He does have Optimus Prime's cunning. He does have Optimus Prime's power. But yeah, he is evil. He's ambitious. But he's also, he also has a loyalty to his own evil leader. So he has a lot playing to that. And he also has like this little like sliver of hope that there's some like goodness of Optimus Prime that got copied along with him. But he serves well as like this evil clone type. And a lot of Nemesis Primes end up as evil clones, So that plays into the variety. You could also have Nemesis Primes who are just like the dark iteration of the original Optimus Prime, whether that is through corruption, or like the dark manifestation in his heart, or the evil, like the opposite, of the universe, like the equal and opposite reaction to Optimus Prime himself. You could have your Nemesis Primes who are minions of Unicron. And they are just violent for the sake of violence. They are mindless creatures bent solely on destruction. There is a clone of Optimus in one fiction who literally just is out for destruction. He's just corrupt. He goes after Autobot and Decepticon alike. He is just out to kill. And then, of course, we have, like, it's Optimus Prime himself, but his programming's been altered. That would be your, what was the last one? The Last Night take on Nemesis. Probably the worst take on Nemesis. It was Optimus Prime with some ketchup on his face. But the point being, you can get a lot of possibility out of a Nemesis Prime. It can basically be whatever the story calls for. Whatever you need a Nemesis Prime to be, that's what he can be, and that's what you can write into what you are doing. So in that, he has a far more expansive array of what he could potentially be than Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. That said, he doesn't have every story advantage when it comes to your evil Optimus Primes. The fault is that he has no origin. His origin is always he was copied off of an Optimus Prime in one way or another. He's the dark incarnation. He's been corrupted by Unicron. He's a clone that was designed to be evil. Different ways of creating him, but they all just mean that there's no past or history to the character. So while what you can do with him story-wise is wide open, personality and interaction-wise, he gets extremely limited. His Nemesis Primes very typically relate with or interact with other characters. Your best bet there is like Galvatron and Nemesis in the Netflix series, which we don't like to acknowledge, but we'll acknowledge it for the sake of this example. However, we have Shattered Glass Optimus Prime, who does have an origin, because he is just Optimus Prime from a different universe. And he starts basically the same way. Depending on fiction, he is Orion Pax, or in the original depiction, he's Optronics. And again, he's something of a just paper pusher. He's a librarian. And spending a few centuries poring over tomes, trying to find the meaning of life, and then ultimately deciding there is none, tends to drive a bot insane. A lot of what Shattered Glass Optimus Prime comes from a base insanity over his own realizations and wanting to defy them. The reality is that the meaning of life is what you make of it. And he decided to make a massacre. This is when you get, very stabby, when you work your way up the corporate ladder that is the Autobots in this fiction. This is the point where, you develop the mindset of till all are gone. And you just really, really like hurting people. But that means he has history. This is also an Orion Pax or Optronics who used to call Megatron a friend, who had actual interaction with other Transformers. This one is constantly battling between all these other minions and all these other usurpers and, of course, heroic Decepticons who are also coming after him. So you've got Rodimus scheming to take over leadership. You've got Ultra Magnus disagreeing with his leader methods, and all these kind of things that give the Optimus of the Shattered Glass universe more to do and more interaction. And of course, he's got his own loyal soldiers. He's got his own version of the Seekers, made up of your cars, like your Sideswipe, Blur, and Goldbug. He has character possibility in the fact that he actually interacts with other characters, and he actually stands as a proper leader. While a Nemesis Prime, in some rare instances, can be a leader character because they adapted Optimus Prime's mentalities and tactical abilities, that ultimately still means that he's not really leading anything. Scourge is the only one. That's just a platoon of Decepticons. This Optimus Prime is after global, universal domination. That's a little bit more ambitious. So that gives him more drive, that gives him more direction, and it gives him more interaction. And that also brings out a lot more character than, say, a Nemesis Prime. So where I feel like a Nemesis Prime's strength is in everything he could have been, a Shattered Glass Optimus Prime's ideal is what he has been and what he is now. It sounds very similar in a story beats, but it is very, very different. And ultimately, it does give you a different type of flexibility as far as what you do with the character. Beyond this point, we could go on harping over the details, going over every iteration of both characters, but really, these are two similar characters that have very different possibilities to them as far as who they can be. And that is left up to whatever writer is in charge at the time, and I think that makes both of them absolutely fascinating. When you make the greatest hero in your fiction a villain, usually you get some kind of interesting answer. Or you get a really bad Captain America story. But generally, we do fine with Shattered Glass, Optimus, and Nemesis. Typically, they're okay. So, because this is a debate video, I am going to leave you with a link in the description below. That will take you to another straw poll, and I am inviting all of you to participate. Leave your vote there and tell me, which one do you like better? Is it Nemesis Prime? Or is it Shattered Glass Optimus Prime? What is your favorite evil Optimus, essentially? And yes, I know there are others besides those two. Put your Toxitrons away. We'll handle things like that another day. But for now, I want to focus on the two major ones. And yes, I'm aware some of you are going to say both. That's fine. But you're free to leave that in the comments below, along with whatever you chose and why you chose it. I'm curious to find out. So, with that said, thank you very much for watching. Happy voting. I'm looking forward to actually seeing the results. And as always, I will see you next time. You've been waiting a long time, haven't you? But the wait's almost over. You're about to meet the brightest star in the universe. We're going to make an impact.